friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. We're back with another garden update video. We were supposed to break ground this week, but storms have postponed that, but I'm kind of glad because it gives me another week to make this really crucial decision about irrigation. I have two different and polar opposite irrigation methods that I am heavily considering, and I have to make this decision fast because of the permanent flooring that I'm putting into the garden, I cannot break through the ground and do this later on. It has to be done right now. And so I'm feeling a little bit of pressure about that, having to make this decision fast. I usually sit with big decisions like this for a very long time, so I'm already out of my comfort zone making this decision quickly. So I would absolutely appreciate your opinions. I have some sketches, some pictures that I'm going to show you to detail the two different methods. If you are a seasoned gardener, I want to hear from you about your experience and what you think is best. If you are a brand new gardener and you're redesigning your garden, I want to hear from you too, especially if you have any limitations with gardening, a bad back, bad joints, a chronic illness that affects your fatigue levels, your energy levels. I'm dealing with all of those things. So if you have any pointers for me as far as it goes to irrigation, what you think someone in that situation might need, especially I'm designing this garden for future me. This garden, the flooring type that I'm putting in, we're talking 50 years. It might possibly outlive me. So I'm kind of designing the whole thing with future me in mind, which is part of what's making these decisions so hard for me to work through. It's a lot, and I usually sit with these decisions for a very long time. And I'm having to make these decisions pretty quickly. So I'm going to walk you through the two different methods, and please share any of your advice, your thoughts, anything like that in the comments. Okay, let me show you the pictures. Okay, really quickly, here's my updated layout that I'm currently going with. I have taken y'all's advice and I have added a 5-foot walkway on this side. I have also increased all of the walkways to 5 feet. This is a decision that was very hard for me to make. To be completely honest with you, it greatly increases the budget of the garden, which is why I had this cut out. But this project is not somewhere that I need to be cutting corners if I'm truly trying to build this for future me and kind of regret proof it. So I did go with y'all's advice there. Thank you so much. Someone mentioned wanting directions written on the garden plan. So north, south, west, and east. As much as possible, you want your garden beds to run east to west. It's going to give you the most sunlight possible. Okay, so with this in mind, let me put this overlay. This is just a tip that I have for you. If you are designing a garden, it's really nice to draw things on a sheet protector. And then you can slide in your garden plan, and you can use a wet erase marker for this. And you can just clear it and draw out a new design without having to do it on computer or reprint it or anything like that. So I don't know. Hope that's helpful to somebody. Let me slide this in here. Okay. So this blue represents the option 1. In ground, buried underneath the flooring of the garden, irrigation lines. This line goes off the page because our well is way over here. Though the main line will come into the garden. There will be a main spigot here that I'll connect like a 200-foot garden hose, something that can reach pretty much the whole garden area. From there, all of it's, so this is above ground, of course, but all of this is underground. We'll have a pipe running this way. Everywhere that you see a circle is where a pipe comes up out of the ground. So picture PVC pipe up above the ground about, I don't know, maybe a foot or two. Everywhere that you see a circle, you'll notice that it is centered at each bed, and I've got this little well, that shape right there. So that's just basically a piece of PVC coming out of the pipe with a crossbar and then 2 elbows, so that I have this is a tip that many of you shared, to have not just one. I didn't want to have 2 pipes coming out of the ground for each bed. Number one, that again increases the expenses of installation. But I also just didn't want to have 14 pipes sticking up out of the ground. But I can achieve what I want by just 1 pipe and doing these 2 elbows with a stick in between and doing irrigation that way. I also took your advice to go ahead and run irrigation to the garden, to the greenhouse. If I were to stop here, it doesn't cost much more money to go ahead and trench here and install here. This is kind of off topic, but we have a pond over here. We also have all of our bonfires by that pond. We currently run a water hose all the way from the house out to the pond to monitor that fire in case anything were to happen. But if anything were to happen, that little water hose all the way over to our house would not be able to get a potentially dangerous situation under control quickly. So that is just, we're already piping. If we choose to do this, we are already piping to here. We may as well extend it out here to the pond and get a very good fire retardant situation out there where we have bonfires. We live out in the country and we burn a lot of our trash so that we don't have to pay to dump it somewhere. Okay, so this is option one. Option one, the pros and cons is that option one is going to be extremely expensive. The cost is between these two is about $1,000. Okay, so it is a big consideration. But again, the other issue is permanence. This is another reason why I like, did I spell permanence correctly? This is another reason why I like to use sheet protectors, because I can write pros and cons list and all of that and not actually be writing on my plan. So just a tip there for you. The permanence factor is that the flooring that I'm putting in, I can't bust through. It's not concrete, but it's as close to concrete as we can get without it being concrete. Okay, so I can't in the future, 5 years from now, be like, man, I really wish I had irrigation to these beds that was just flip a switch and it's on. I will not then be able to go and make that decision, bust through the ground and do it. So this is a now or never moment. Now or never. That is the big factor that is driving my decision to leaning towards this method. I know this project is expensive. I'm prepared for that. We're saving up for that. We've already have enough savings to go ahead and break ground and do this method if we wanted to. So I'm leaning towards that. I will let you know that up front. Let's move on to option two so that you can give me your ideas on that. So option two is solar, kind of a passive solar. So I don't have any footage to show you because I don't own this product yet. I also cannot go online and pull pictures or footage from the product manufacturer. You probably see that happening on YouTube a lot, but it's actually illegal. And if the company wanted to, they could absolutely go and sue because of using their media. People do it all the time, but technically it is not okay. So I'm playing it safe. I'm just going to draw it out here for you. So I have 7 beds. Let's pretend I'm just going to draw out one bed for the sake of brevity. The way that the solar works is individual rain barrels. So every bed would have to have a rain barrel. Very elementary, rudimentary drawing here. Every bed would have to have a rain barrel with a pole, some kind of pole that extends, and the solar panel would be attached up here. There's a little wire that comes down and goes all the way to the bottom of the barrel with a sensor that lets you know when the rain barrel is empty. It will sound an alarm. Also on the back of this solar panel is a timer box. You can set how long, the day duration in between, and also the duration of the actual watering. So for instance, I could set it for 5 minutes of watering every 3 days. I'm not saying that's what I would do. I'm just giving an example. So that's pretty cool. Now, one brief thing to note is that a timer, I can do timers with both options. So the fact that this has a timer and automated doesn't need to be the thing that makes the decision for me. I can do it with both for the same price. It would not be expensive at all to just go ahead and add a timer system. In fact, what the plumber is suggesting is that right here under the spigot, I have a box that is accessible with a hinged door, and in this box would be this timer system that would work all of these. But each of these would also have a shut-off valve, by the way, so it doesn't have to be one or all of them. It can be, I can do just this bed, just this bed, just this bed. So the timer doesn't need to be the decision maker. The decision maker needs to be I'm considering cost. This solar is ridiculously more cheaper. More cheaper, that's not good grammar. But this kit runs approximately $29. Now I do have 7 beds, and that is the downside, that I would kind of need a rain barrel feeding each of the 7 beds. So that's, you know, that's just a lot. That's kind of the thing that hold on, I can't talk and do math at the same time. Is that 203? 63, 14, 203. So significantly more significantly cheaper than this option. So pros, we're going to say decreased cost. The cons that I see here is, do I want to have this big rain barrel and this, you know, stick in a solar panel for all 7 beds? So I'm going to say size, or like the amount of space that this one is going to take up above ground versus everything being below ground in option 1. The other thing that I'm considering is that we have rain barrels. We already work with rain barrels on this property. So I have experience with them. I know the pros and cons. They develop algae, they develop bacteria, but I can pretty easily add a filter for where this comes out at. By the way, in case you're wondering how this attaches, there's also a drip line that comes through. You got your drip line into the water barrel bucket that is also attached to a wire here. So they've got 2 wires that hang off the solar panel, and then your drip line will go, and it has like little pegs that you stick in. So there's 20 pegs per system. I think I can't remember if it's 10 or 20. We'll just say 20 because you can expand it. So let's say the kit only comes with 10, I can easily expand it to 20. So it's got these little drip emitters that are running from this rain barrel. I could potentially put a filter right here, but again, that's one of these filters that are going to run around $30 times 7. I need one of each of this system for every bed. So keep that in mind. The other thing that I know about rain barrels, and I'm going to put this as a con, is that the water gets extremely hot. Very, very hot. Sitting out in the sun, and I have had issues in the past with using a water hose that has been sitting out in the sun all day. And I will have, pretty much everybody knows this, just let the hot water run out. Not a big deal, but you can't let the hot water run out with this. That's the issue that I'm running into. With a water hose, I let the hot water run out, let it come to cool, and then start watering. So I'm not putting that hot, shocking the plant with that hot heat. With this, I can't do that. The water is going to be hot, and it's going to be running through here hot. The other issue that I have is I have used drip irrigation since 2024 to some of my beds. Again, I never have wanted to automate myself out of a job, so I have not ever irrigated my entire garden automatically. But I have used drip irrigation, and I just simply didn't like it. The little holes are teensy tiny, and they get clogged up very easily. So clogged, I would say, is another con to this. The absolute biggest pro, I put this all on the pros when I shouldn't have, is that it is so much cheaper. Also, emergency situations. If we lose power and we can no longer power our well, then the buried underground irrigation system is a moot point. We do have an emergency plan for powering our well, if that were the case. But at that point, in an emergency situation, we would be conserving that water for drinking use and bathing use, and not necessarily watering the garden. We would probably be depending very heavily on the rain in an emergency situation and trusting the Lord to take care of that for us. So that would be another pro, is, off-grid, which is a huge pro. Kind of a third option, which some of you are probably already thinking of, is I am planning on doing this, but then just buying one, instead of 7, just buying one kit, one $29 kit with the full solar setup, have it on hand, and just have that run on one bed. And in an emergency situation, we would be covered. We already have the rain barrel, so that's not an expense. We already have the pole, that's not an expense. The only thing I would have to purchase is this solar kit with drip emitters. And I could have that on hand in an emergency situation where we don't have power, we can't power the well. I would simply do a temporary pole setup, and I would water one bed one day, and then I would move it to the next bed and water it that day. Move it to the third bed and water it that day. So that's another kind of 1-2 combination that I'm considering. I know that was a lot. Thank you if you're still here watching. Thank you for hanging out with me for that long. Please share what your thoughts in the comments, option 1, option 2, or the combination of going with option 1 but having a solar setup on hand in case of emergencies. I'm still I know I'm leaning towards option one, but I am still so far away from pulling the trigger officially, but I have to make this decision very soon, like this week. Like we were supposed to break ground this week, so technically I should have had this decision made already. But lots of weather moving in, and I have another week to decide this. So please let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I will read every single one of them. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.